Good afternoon, lovely world. I was just sitting here cutting my boy's hair, and the Lord reminded me of something. So let me start with what happened last night. I was on my way to sleep, and before I fall into a deep sleep, I'm always greeted with something. And right now I'm in question with God as to why does this happen? But ever since I started to want to break generational curses in my family, break down demonic entities around me, away from me, out of me, I started to have these, what I thought was attacks. So just a little bit about what usually happens is when I lay my head down to go to sleep, I close my eyes. And the moment that I close my eyes, I'm greeted with the demon. It is like clockwork. And it doesn't scare me. It doesn't freak me out. It just kind of like, well, why is this happening? Why are you doing this? There's only been 2 times that it kind of startled me. I'm not saying afraid, because I'm not afraid, because it's not trying to attack me. It's trying to intimidate me. So what I did was, I started to ask God, are you showing me this? Is this something that I need to pay attention to, or I need to rebuke? When you're going into spiritual warfare, there's definitely going to be attacks, because they don't want you to break curses in your family. And I intend to break every single one that has been started from the beginning of time in my bloodline. I'm coming for it, because my children deserve to live a life full of the goodness of the Lord, right? Don't our children deserve that? I mean, shoot, we deserved it, but it wasn't always taught to us growing up. Spiritual warfare, breaking generational curses, breaking down demonic entities and demonic altars. Those things were not taught to us growing up, at least in my life. We didn't go down the bloodline. We just thought what we were dealing with is what it was right then. But it has history to it. What you deal with has history to it. It has demons attached to it. So when these things are happening to me, it just is like, okay, next. But last night I was trying to go to sleep, and what came up that moment, I was like, let's question this. Whatever entity it was, I'm going to tell you what it was. But when it started, it came out. I closed my eyes and it came out like a genie, and it turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to destroy you. And I said, God's promises is all over my life. You have no authority to destroy me. Cool. It went away. But when I started to analyze this demon, look at this thing as for what it was, it was made up it kind of looked like the Terminator, right? You know how the Terminator was mechanical. It just was completely a robot, right? And I said, God, what was that? And if you think that I don't talk to God like that, I do. Because it's that's dad, What was that? What's going on? Why would you give me promises and then allow this to attack me and as such? And to say that he's going to destroy me, you don't have the right to destroy me. I won't give you that will. He said, whomever it allows to destroy, it will destroy. So I was like, okay, what's that in question? What he showed me was a mechanical demon, not mechanical. What was the word that I used earlier when I was writing this? Electronic. That's the word. And it was an electronic demon, that we are being distracted right now by all of the things that this wonderful world has awarded us with: phones, telephones, iPads, computers, TVs, anything that gets our mind to slow down and not really use our creativity or use our skills of reading and understanding, comprehension, our own thought process. We're taking on the thought process of the people that is on these TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of these platforms, Facebook, everything that is offered to us, we're taking in those things. And I just kind of sat there. Now, let me go back to earlier in that day. The Holy Spirit had already told me to slow down on the use of my social media. There's one social media that he had asked me to use, and he said, stay consistent with that one. And I said, okay. But there are times that I get distracted and I'm either frustrated about something. And yes, I'm going to be honest. Usually my phone is like my drug. I'll go and I'll sit there, and then you look up, hours have passed and I have searched the internet, or because I'll have a thought and I want to follow that thought with Google. That's my toxic trait. But there are times that I am just on social media and I'm just flowing, not even realizing that time is going by. Distraction. Whereas the Holy Spirit has me, I want you to read this book. I want you to write this. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And I just want to give this to someone, to everyone. Like, we can't be distracted in this hour. We cannot be distracted in this hour. We're in a state of transition. The world is in transition. And if anyone knows what it is to give birth to a child, and if you've ever given birth naturally, when a woman goes through transition, her body pretty much takes over. She has no control. She has to yield to what is getting ready to come through her canal. And if you try to stop it, it'll kill you and the baby. When I had my second son, I had a natural birth at home. First son, third son, I had epidural, so I didn't feel anything. I didn't get to feel that aspect of birth. But when I had Zayden, oh my God. And it was painful, but yet the most beautiful transition I had ever been through in my life. But imagine if I had never prepared my mind for this transition. I knew when I first got pregnant that I wanted to have a home birth. I had already said in my heart that this is what I wanted, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going for it. All the naysayers, no way, absolutely, calling my mom, you need to talk to your daughter, she's crazy, she can die, she can do this can happen, that can happen. All of the things, all of the negative aspects started to come to the forefront. And I feel like right now, look at where the world is. Everything negative is coming to the head. Nothing in the spiritual realm of the beauty of what's happening is coming out. That whether the Lord is coming back or not, that there's still a transition happening. And I want you to be on the side of the birthing side, not the side of death, unless it's a death to your flesh, that you are killing your flesh daily and that you are allowing the spiritual life of God, Jehovah, come through you. Unless it's that type of death, they can have it. Unless the Lord calls me home, they can have it. I don't want you to die because you're distracted with social media. You're distracted with TV. You're distracted with your circumstances. You're distracted with your situation. You're distracted with your own demons that you're dealing with. Don't let that kill you. You're giving birth. It is severe transition time right now. And transition usually happens when a woman is between 7 to 10 centimeters. See, the first part of birth is mild for some. Very mild. 1, 2, 3 centimeters. You feel some labor pains, but you don't feel anything like you feel it until you get to 7. 7 is where it's almost like your uterus, your pelvic floor, it starts to unlock. The transition starts to happen because it's unlocking for the baby to get in position where the baby is already bearing down. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I did so much research on how this was going to happen when I gave birth. But just say this is your pelvic, and at 7, 8, 9, 10. It usually starts at 7. Your pelvic begins to unlock. And when it's unlocking, it's opening. And that baby is steady bearing down on the uterus because it's pushing. And while it's pushing, your cervix. Sorry, I had a call come through. I'm so sorry. Your cervix becomes effaced, where it begins to thin. That veil begins to thin. And think about that in the spiritual realm. There's something pushing down that is trying to give birth, whether we like it or not, y'all. The veil is thin. It's coming down the canal. And like I said to y'all before, you can either be on the worry or the warrior side. Which side are you going to choose? The Lord is asking us. Are you either going to be lukewarm, hot, or cold? Which one? Choose. But it's coming. There's no time to be afraid. When I started to really kind of give into the fact that my body's taking over here. There's nothing I can do. I can't take any Tylenol. I can't have a shot. There's nothing that I can do to subdue this pain. It's coming. Birth is happening. And like I said to y'all before, if you stop it, and one of the ways that I can say that a woman would try to stop giving birth is close her legs. You can't close that portal. You're going to kill the baby and yourself. Because you are plugging up that pain. That pain has to go somewhere. That energy has to go out somewhere. It cannot stay within your body. And I know some of y'all are going to be like, energy. Listen, a spirit is energy to the world. It's the same term. It's the same thing. But the Lord is saying it's a spirit. That spirit thing that's coming out of you, that's coming into the flesh, is being birthed into the flesh. It started with a spirit inside of you. Same thing that's happening in the world. There's a transition happening. And all I'm asking is don't be distracted. If I had not done the research that I had done to give birth to my son naturally, to know what to expect, know what my body is going to do, to know in case of any emergencies, what should I do? And above all things, I began to worship from the moment that I said I was going to have a home birth. I began to connect with the Lord even on a higher level because I knew that this was not something of the physical realm. It's not just me giving birth. This is a spiritual thing as well. And if I can be honest, I believe that the Lord allowed me to go through that just so that I could understand what it is in the natural and the spiritual for every aspect of my life. Transition. That was the one thing that stuck with me through everything in my life. Transition. 7 to 10 centimeters. When a woman has hit 7 centimeters, transition is already unlocking. There's nothing you can do to change that. I need y'all to get that. You just have to move with it. My midwife would say, you have to ride the wave. You can't go against it. You can't go against that. You can't go back to the beginning of this birth. It's already here. You got to stay with it. Ride the wave. And while I rode every wave of contraction, I worshiped. I gave praise to God. I had praise music on. I had the ambiance. Romanticized my birth. I didn't want to be in a place of distress. I didn't want my body to be stressed. I didn't want my family to be stressed. We were in an apartment and everything was peaceful. It was a peaceful environment. I encourage you to do that in this season in your life. Let the Lord just wash over you with his words, with his scriptures. Wash over yourself with his scriptures. That way, that when this transition happens, when this move of God happens, and listen, nobody really knows what's getting ready to happen. There's been several things that they said to prepare for, but nobody knows what God is getting ready to do in this hour. The best thing I can say is that worshiping him draws him close, and you want him close. I wanted the Lord close to me when I was giving birth. Hi, Auntie. I wanted the Lord close because I wanted to make sure that there was no way of death coming near my way. You know, there's an old tale that would, my mom would say, like, death walks around you 8 to 10 times during labor. I don't take those things lightly. I mean, if you know what your body is doing when you're giving birth, it's equal to breaking, I think it's like 47 or however many amounts of bones in your body. And imagine, I've never broken a bone, thank the Lord, and I never want to. But I've talked to people who've broken a leg, broken an arm, and it is painful. Could you imagine breaking 47 of those at one time, what your body feels like? And they're equating that to birth? Listen, giving birth to that boy changed my life. It changed my perspective. It gave me a whole different perspective on transition, birth. It gave me a whole different perspective on seed and harvest. That when the seed is planted, it takes time for it to grow. But when the harvest comes, it don't always come with ease. It doesn't always come with stress-free life. Some people's birth is no pain. But it was a lesson in my birth. And I want to share that lesson with you guys today. Worship Him. Don't go against the grain. Flow with it. And don't be distracted. Stay focused, y'all. I'm serious. It's so important that we stay focused in this hour. Stay focused. Stay guarded. Stay aware of your surroundings. Be aware. Be aware of the spiritual attacks that's coming. Some people don't even see the spiritual attacks because they're walking with the demon that they don't even know. They're oblivious to it. Don't be on that side, y'all. Be on the right side. I'm not saying this to scare anybody. Trust me. It can be frightening if you don't know God. It very well can be. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be frightening. It can be a beautiful experience with the Lord. So I'm just going to keep encouraging people through this season because first, I'm having to be obedient. And secondly, I want everybody to win, y'all. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to be on that side. Do you hear me? I don't want anyone to be left or on the side of destruction. I want knowledge to be put forth so that you understand what is happening and when it will happen or what will happen. You understand what the Lord is saying. You have a direct connection with the Father so that you can hear Him for yourself. There are many prophets going forth, many different prophets going forth. And I'm going to be honest, the Lord has shown me a lot of things and I don't always share them. But that one this morning, last night, I thought maybe I should share that. You know, it's not always good to share what attacks you, what kind of attacks or what attacks you're facing. I didn't consider that an attack because it wasn't afflicting me. It wasn't causing me to lose sleep. I laughed at it the first couple of times it happened. I was like, Satan, if you don't push on somewhere, like move, man, I'm trying to go to sleep. But after weeks of it happening, it caught my attention. Maybe the Lord is trying to show me something. And it was different types of demonic forces, like stuff that I've never even seen in my lifetime before. Like the moment I closed my eyes, it's like, oh, what was that? Like, where'd that come from? Yeah, no. But this one, distraction. He said that I'm going to destroy you. But He ain't. You're not. So we will talk more as I study more. I will share more because we gonna win. It's inevitable. We win this. So I love y'all and y'all have a blessed day. We'll talk soon.